Tonight, when you pick up your phone and open your digital wallet app, you're probably thinking about one thing: whether Bitcoin's price went up or down. That's it. But at this very moment, behind a desk in Pyongyang, someone is looking at the very same blockchain you're looking at, just with a completely different goal. They're looking for a leak, a small gap, a careless moment from a tired developer. And when that moment arrives, hundreds of millions of dollars vanish within minutes. No shots fired, no doors broken, just one click. This story isn't a spy movie. This is happening right now, at this very second. A group called Lazarus, linked to the North Korean government, has become one of the most organized and highest-earning digital theft networks in human history. But the real question isn't how they do it. The question is, why can't anyone stop them? To understand this, we need to go back a bit. North Korea is a country under some of the heaviest economic sanctions in the world. International banks won't deal with it. Its ships aren't allowed to dock in many of the world's ports. But a regime, even the most isolated regime in the world, needs money to survive, for food, for fuel, and most importantly, for its nuclear and missile program. In the 1990s, when computers weren't yet considered tools of war, North Korea's leadership made an unusual decision. They pulled out a small group of the country's most talented math students and sent them not toward the military, but toward computers. These kids later became the core of what experts today call Lazarus. In its early days, Lazarus carried out relatively simple operations: crippling attacks on websites, a bit of espionage, a high-profile breach of an American film studio in 2014 that made global headlines. But the real turning point was the rise of cryptocurrency. Think about it: a financial system with no central bank controlling it, no borders stopping it, and most importantly, no single entity that can be forced to cooperate. For a country cast out of the global banking system, this was exactly the door that seemed like it would stay closed forever, but suddenly swung open. Here's where a strange fact emerges. Researchers at the blockchain analytics firm Chainalysis have spent years tracking stolen funds linked to North Korea, and their annual reports show that a significant share of the total value stolen from digital exchanges worldwide traces back to groups affiliated with this country. That figure has sometimes exceeded the combined total of every other theft in the world. In other words, a country with a small population holds a share of the hidden world of crypto hacking equal to the rest of the entire world combined. But how do they get into the system? This is the part that's genuinely clever and at the same time terrifying. Most people think hacking means sitting behind a computer writing complex code to punch a hole in a security wall. Sometimes that's true, but Lazarus's favorite method is something else: social engineering. Instead of breaking the lock, you get the person themselves to open the door. Imagine a software developer working at a crypto exchange. One day they get a message on LinkedIn. A well-known brokerage firm offers them a job with an extremely high salary. The conversation goes on for weeks. Completely professional, completely believable. Eventually, they're asked to download a PDF file, maybe a sample resume, or a technical test for the interview. That file is the entry point. Code running in the background quietly infiltrates the company's internal system. This is exactly the pattern security researchers have repeatedly identified in cases involving breaches of major exchanges. Not some complex technical vulnerability, but a tired human clicking on a file. And once they're in, that's where the real game begins. Major crypto exchanges typically use a system called multi-signature. This means moving large amounts of money requires approval from several people at once, not just one. The idea is that even if one key is compromised, the others remain secure. But hackers have found ways to get around this system too, by deceiving several people simultaneously, or by manipulating the interface those people use to approve transactions, so that they think they're approving a normal transaction, when in reality, they're handing over control of the vault. One of the biggest examples of this kind of attack was the theft that hit the Ronin Network. the bridge used by the popular game Axie Infinity. U.S. federal analysts directly attributed the operation to Lazarus, and the value of the assets stolen in that single attack was estimated at hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's just one of dozens of similar cases in recent years. But stealing the money is only half the story. The second half, maybe even smarter than the theft itself. How do you move millions of dollars of cryptocurrency in a way that no one can trace? This is where we enter something experts call chain hopping. Imagine the stolen funds start out on one particular blockchain. The hackers immediately move it to another blockchain, then convert it into a different currency, move it again, and repeat this process over and over. Each hop makes tracing it one layer harder. Eventually, the money often ends up in something called a mixer, a tool that blends the funds of thousands of different users together, making it nearly impossible to tell which dollar belonged to which wallet. The U.S. Treasury Department has formally sanctioned several of these mixers in recent years, precisely because of their key role in laundering North Korea's stolen funds. And here's a question you may never have thought about. Could the cryptocurrency you traded this morning have once passed through a hacker's hands? In a blockchain world where everything is interconnected, that possibility isn't as far-fetched as you might think. Here's the interesting part. Contrary to popular belief, the blockchain itself is a completely transparent ledger. Every transaction is recorded forever, and anyone can see it. So why is tracing this money so hard? The answer lies in the number of layers, not in concealment. Imagine pouring thousands of drops of colored water into a large pool and then trying to figure out where each drop came from. The transactions aren't hidden. They're just combined so much that their original meaning gets lost. That's exactly what a mixer does, and that's exactly what has turned blockchain analysts' work into an exhausting race against time. What makes this even stranger is how fast these networks react. In many known cases, less than a few hours passed between the initial breach and the complete extraction of the funds from the system. By the time exchange security teams usually notice something is wrong, the money has already left the main trail and is moving across multiple blockchains. This speed isn't accidental. It's the product of years of practice and optimization of a repeated process by the very team that designed it. Now let's look at the more troubling part of this story. Where does this money go after it's been cleaned? According to reports from the United Nations and intelligence agencies in several countries, a significant portion of this income goes directly into funding North Korea's missile and nuclear programs. That means every successful transaction on a digital exchange could indirectly be financing another missile test. This is no longer just a financial crime, it's a geopolitical tool. Think about it. A country cut off from the global banking system has found, through the very technology that was supposed to democratize finance, a way around all those restrictions. Sanctions were designed to stop cash from getting through, but no one anticipated that money would no longer necessarily have to pass through a bank at all. And this transformation keeps accelerating. Cybersecurity experts warn that a new wave of these operations is now using artificial intelligence to automate part of the laundering process, systems that can design fund movement routes faster than any human analyst. In other words, the very tool meant to help detect fraud is now also being used to hide it. So is there any way to fight back? Major exchanges are now moving toward architectures called zero trust, systems in which no user or device, even within the company itself, is trusted by default. At the same time, international cooperation between exchanges, the FBI, and intelligence agencies in several countries has increased in order to freeze stolen assets within the very first minutes, before they enter the laundering cycle. In a few recent cases, some of the stolen funds have actually been recovered, a sign that this fight isn't one-sided. But the reality is that as long as one tired human clicks the wrong link, that door will always stay open just a crack. And maybe this is where we should return to the moment at the start of this video. Tonight, you pick up your phone, open your wallet app, and think only about the price. But at that very moment, somewhere in the world, an invisible army is looking at that same screen, not to see the price, but to find the crack that no one has sealed yet.